Global Catholic Climate Movement, and delighted to welcome you to our GCCM member organization call, sharing on what's next, upcoming initiatives, and also a little bit about our strategic plan. So to begin, as always, let's begin in prayer. And I would like to invite Danielle Finnemore, who is one of our newest staff members, to open us in prayer.
Thanks, Christina. So first of all, welcome everybody. I would say good morning, good evening, depending on the time zone. So welcome everybody. This is my first GCCM member organization call because I joined the movement 1 month ago, and I work now here. I'm Italian. I work in Rome as the European Program Assistant, and I am honored to open this important session, this important call with a short prayer, about the reflection, the importance of our service, of our mission, the importance to have a fruitful collaboration between each other. So please, let's close the eyes for a minute. And today we will remember to put you before all things. Lord, before tiredness, you are energy. Lord, before stress, you are peace. Lord, before need, you are the gift. Lord, before decisions, you are the truth. Lord, before toil, you are the rest. Today, we all together will remember to put your energy, your peace, your gift, your truth, and your rest before our call, before our working day. That we may go not in our strength, but be led by your Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Daniela. So we have a full agenda for today's call. We're going to go through several items. First, Tomas and Sue, our executive director, is going to give us some key highlights from our 2017 to 2020 strategic plan. And then we'll be sharing on some of our upcoming initiatives for the rest of the year. And you'll hear from different members of our team about the different programs. And then we'll share operational matters, so different ways that you as member organizations can stay engaged. And then finally, we'll end with questions and answers. So let's get started. I'll turn it over to Tomas.
Great. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's wonderful to be here having these calls again. It's been a while since our last member organizations call. And as we'll share later, they used to have these calls on a regular basis throughout the year, as expressed, several of you expressed in the survey we did in January, that you had an interest in having this regular updates to keep you posted of what's going on, what new things are coming up, and also to share feedback, ideas, etc. So let me start by sharing, the very important update of our strategic planning meeting in ASSISI. So in January, if we could move on to the next slide, we gathered in ASSISI together with our secretariat, so staff of GCCM, together with our steering committee. Keep in mind, the steering committee has been operating since the founding of GCCM, and our new board. We set up a new board. We'll share a bit later then about structures and so on, but we came all together in ASSISI. You see most of us there in the picture, to have this, actually our first proper offline face-to-face meeting in 2 years. As you might recall, GCCM is very new. we founded GCCM only 2 years ago, and we had never had that opportunity to come together offline. We've been operating online in calls such as this one for a very long time, but I've never had that opportunity to sit down and brainstorm on many important issues that we needed to discuss. So first goal was coming together, getting to know each other better, building community, and building the relationships that ultimately are the foundation of GCCM. That was our first goal. Our second goal was, if we can pass to the next slide, was about, in the wonderful setting of ASSISI, to dive deeper into the spirituality of Laudato Si. We're very blessed. You see there in the picture, Colonel Rivat. Colonel Rivat is the president of the Federation of Bishops' Conferences of Oceania from Papua New Guinea. And he joined us for the whole strategic planning meeting. And, well, of course, did some wonderful homilies. And we had, for example, this opportunity to have this nice masses in chapels of the St. Francis Basilica. So it was really beautiful as a community to come together and dive deeper into the spirituality of Laudato Si and St. Francis of Assisi. The third goal was about assessing the fruits of GCCM's first 2 years. Was about looking at the abundant fruit of GCCM and making a kind of an evaluation, if you want. This was, in the next slide, you'll see them. So, this was also informed by the survey. Many of you filled out this survey in which we asked, what did you value the most about GCCM? It was very nice to see, this kind of confirmation that many of you, of our member organizations, appreciated that GCCM allowed you to have a bigger impact by collaborating with Catholics across the world, that we were able to provide practical ideas and campaigns to take action. Also, the piece about information, that being up to date through our newsletter and other channels to stay updated about key climate and ecology news, not only inside the church, but also outside. And lastly, about training and education opportunities, that's something that also was appreciated. So that was really nice to see. So that was part of that evaluation. And in the next slide, we asked a few questions in that survey, and also kind of trying to assess where member organizations need more help implementing Laudato Si. We know that implementing Laudato Si is this multidimensional challenge. So we appreciated seeing where people thought that more help was needed. And the next slide. So that was about the assessing the impact. Then we also had some fruitful conversations about our identity, our mission, our vision. And since then, since the ASSISI meeting, we have been working on putting this on paper. So very soon we'll be publishing our new vision and missions and values statements. So we've been working on that with our steering committee. So that's something that we also did over there in ASSISI. Next slide. And part of the survey also was discussing this: should we stay focused on climate specifically, or broaden to other environmental issues? There was broad agreement, and also in the survey, that we should stay focused on climate, given that's the most pressing ecological issue today. That's the irreversible and cross-cutting issue that is so dramatic in its scope, and the urgency is so great that we should stay focused on that, but still having this broader creation care focus, or Laudato Si focus, if you want, in terms of our communications and our engagement of our network. So that was one of the outcomes as well, and which was also kind of affirmed by the survey results. The next objective was about deciding on governance matters. Given we have had the steering committee with all these different leaders from throughout the world that have been kind of governing GCCM since the very beginning. Now we have added the new board, which is a new body with kind of different functions. So one of the goals of our ASSISI meeting was kind of clarifying what's the role of each and understanding, where the needs are and the gaps are. So the steering committee being, as it has been for the last 2 years, more hands-on in supporting the Secretariat, in driving our strategy and driving our different programs and supporting via the working groups, etc. And the governance, and the board, the new board, helping out with some other roles where we were needing more help, ranging from fundraising to high-level engagement of the Church, of the Vatican, and overall governance, if you want a governance role to support the Secretariat. So that was, and the next objective was, and this is what I'll share a bit more now, was about laying out the foundations of our strategic plan, for a new strategic plan. So if we go to the next slide, I'll try to go a bit faster. And we have a few slides here. So our new strategic plan, to start with, something I want to share is that in ASSISI, one of the key themes of ASSISI was that everyone agreed on this really huge urgency of the climate crisis. So there was a lot of talk about how urgent the climate crisis is and how tiny is the window we have to make a difference and try to mitigate the climate crisis. And this was also kind of complemented afterwards with the recent launch, I'm not sure if you saw it, but the Mission 2020 initiative was launched recently, which is all about the urgency as well. So we've kind of incorporated some of that framing into our strategic plan. The Mission 2020 basically is it's a new initiative by Christiana Figueres, who's the former United Nations climate chief, which is calling on all sectors of society to go all in between now and 2020 if we really want to address the climate crisis. There's a lot of talk now about 2020 being the climate turning point, as you see there in the graph in the slide. So that's what we're trying to do in our strategic plan, which is focus on 2020, on what we'll propose ourselves to do between now and 2020. Our goal will be to really go all in mobilizing the Catholic community, the Catholic Church, to implement Laudato Si. So in the next slide, so we dive deeper. Our strategic plan is still around the same 3 strategic goals we were talking before. You might recall this chart that we have shared a few times in different calls, that we see our work, GCCM's work, as happening in these 3 dimensions of responding to the climate crisis, all being equally important and being the spectrum from an internal to an external transformation. And of course, I'll go very quickly through each of them in the next slides. So our first strategic goal, is about enabling this ecological conversion that St. John Paul II talked about. So this is something that we'll continue pursuing, and you'll continue to see in our programming, trying to really stress the need to undergo this ecological conversion, this change of heart that is needed, that will ultimately motivate everything else. So that's the first strategic goal. The second strategic goal is about lifestyles, and starting with the greening of our buildings. So this is something that I would say this is the area where we haven't done much in the first 2 years. I would say we have done more of number 3 and number 1. Number 2 is one of those things that we see we need to lead by example. The Catholic community here should be leading by example. If we're so eager to call on governments to take action, we should start by ourselves, and we should start by greening our own facilities. And we have a long way to go here. So this is, in the coming months, we'll be hopefully sharing new programming on this front, especially a Catholic sustainability platform, in which we hope to put together a nice platform for Catholic parishes and schools, etc., to go green, to actually implement, to track their carbon footprint and take measures to reduce that footprint and to dramatically shrink that footprint, I should say. So we expect to be doing more on that front. There's also some talk about working on energy access in the Global South. There's a new initiative called the Shine Campaign, so we hope to do more of that, which is about renewable energy in parishes and schools of the Global South. So hopefully that's coming up relatively soon as well. And the last strategic goal is about raising our voice for climate justice. This is something we have done quite a bit so far, and we hope to continue doing it. Something here that we have been discussing in our steering committee is also trying to elaborate a bit more our advocacy, and it's not only about focusing on energy policy and calling for 100% renewable energy, but also trying to engage more in this message of Laudato Si, this critique of Pope Francis to the unlimited growth paradigm. So this is something that hopefully in the next few months and next few years we'll be refining and including into our messaging and into our advocacy that we hear. I mean, here we also have to be questioning, the fundamental, the foundations of the economic system we have and the way it operates if we're going to tackle meaningfully the climate crisis. So we expect to be doing more if resources allow, and this is something that we're working on growing our capacity at GCCM. We're now still a tiny team. We're hoping to grow more and have more capacity to do more of this work in these different work streams. But we're hoping also to increase our advocacy efforts, not only in the big international forums in which we have already been engaging, like the UN climate negotiations, but also, most importantly, I would say, at a local level, trying to empower local communities like the one you see there in the picture, that's in Ecuador, empowering the local Catholic communities to really raise their voice and try to transform policies at a local level. That's, if we're going to achieve anything meaningful, it will be at the local level. So, and lastly, about our strategic plan, we'll share a summary of the strategic plan in the coming month or two, I would say. Hopefully, we're still in the process of finalizing it. So this is just a very quick overview. But the last important piece I would say of the strategic plan is this movement funnel. So here I want to share the strategic plan is very ambitious. There was this proposal by one of our board members in ASSISI, Sanyo from the Philippines, who said, we had all this talk about how big we should be thinking and how big we should be aiming. And Sanyo said, we should aim to engage 10% of Catholics. We shouldn't aim for less, even if, it might be an aspirational goal, but that's what we should be aiming for. Having those bold goals will force us, hopefully, to be creative in order to achieve those. So that said, 10% of Catholics is 120 million Catholics. That's a lot of Catholics. So this chart kind of aims to illustrate how we see our work in terms of building this funnel. So in the next 3 years, first we'll try to promote Laudato Si at scale, raise awareness at scale. I think we all agree that there's a lot of work to be done in terms of raising awareness about Laudato Si. So we'll be aiming for literally 120 million Catholics through different creative initiatives, ranging from presence in big church events like World Youth Day and the World Meeting of Families, all the way to audiovisual content. We're hoping to produce or help produce a Laudato Si documentary. So we're working with with the Vatican, with some Vatican agencies, and hopefully in the next few months we'll be working on putting that documentary together. And we're also working on, well, other initiatives that are about raising awareness. For example, a Laudato Si Institute, which is about getting Laudato Si content into Catholic schools and universities. So we'll have to be creative there, and we'll need everyone's help to really continue raising awareness. Second, we are hoping to, by raising awareness, try to get Catholics to sign up for the movement. And here, Christina will share shortly about our main initiative there, which will be the Laudato Si Pledge. And the goal will be to recruit 12 million Catholics, and which is a lot. So, but that's what we'll be aiming for, and trying to, by building the movement all together, trying to then activate all these many members to take action offline, aiming for 1.2 million of them to be very active offline. So this is kind of the 10% funnel we have here. So I'll stop there. There's a lot more we could share about the strategic plan, but I think now it will be nice to share some of the upcoming initiatives that will be what will be happening in the next few months to start implementing this plan. So very lastly, this last slide we have here is about the icing in the cake of ASSISI. Right after our ASSISI meeting, we had the chance to meet Pope Francis, and he dedicated a very nice message to GCCM. I'm not sure how are we doing with time, Christina? I'm not sure if we have time to showcase the video. Probably not, right? So we'll send the link of the video if you haven't seen it yet. But we had this wonderful message from Pope Francis that I think was really inspiring and encouraging. So I hope it inspired you as well, and hopefully will, give us the strength we need to really go all in the next 3 years and implement this bold plan. So that's it. I'll stop there. Thanks a lot for your attention. Happy to chat more in the Q&A session at the end, and I will hear more from Christina.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tomas. So as you mentioned, we have a lot of initiatives coming up for the rest of the year and years to come. And these are the things that we're going to be discussing. So as Tomas mentioned, we have a Laudato Si Pledge. We also have the Season of Creation, Laudato Si Animator trainings, Laudato Si Roadshows, an upcoming October 4th Divestment Announcement, and then World Youth Day. So we'll have different team members discuss each of these initiatives. And in case you're taking notes, don't worry, we're going to send this PowerPoint out in an email afterwards, as well as with supporting resources. So you'll have all this information in your inbox. So this very exciting initiative that we're about to launch in a few weeks is called the Laudato Si Pledge. We realized that one of the feedbacks that we got through the survey that you all filled out was that the church still has a long way to go to bringing Laudato Si to life. And so the idea that one of our steering committee members came up with, and has been done by some of our member organizations, is to have a pledge, is to have kind of a way for people to kind of make their first commitment to bring Laudato Si to life. So based on our 3 dimensions of our work, we've developed a pledge, and the pledge is fairly simple. You can see it on the left. I pledge to pray for and with creation, live more simply, and advocate to protect our common home. And again, the point of the pledge is to keep the Laudato Si message alive and to engage the Catholic family in caring for our common home. And we're going to have a pledge for individuals, for families, for parishes, and organizations. So people can sign it depending on, what their commitments are. And there'll be different ways for people to sign the pledge. They can sign it online. We'll have it on our website. And we'll also invite you to promote the pledge on your websites. And we'll give you a unique link so that you can have have the information of people who sign up for the pledge through your own channels. The other way we're going to be collecting information is offline. We know that our experience from our Catholic Climate Petition campaign from 2015 was that we get a lot of engagement offline in parishes. So we'll also invite people to sign the pledge offline. And then once people sign the pledge, they'll begin to receive suggestions through their email about how to bring the encyclical into action. So we'll give them concrete suggestions of ways to integrate Laudato Si into their spiritual life, into their daily life, and how to engage in advocacy. And as Tomas mentioned, our goal is to reach 12 million Catholics, including families, and 10% of parishes, or 22,000 parishes. So yes, it is ambitious, but we know that the climate problem needs ambition. And so we trust through the Holy Spirit that all of this is possible. So we invite you to help us to reach 12 million Catholics. So one way that we're going to do this is we're inviting bishops and other high-level Catholics to endorse the pledge. So we have our first endorsement by Cardinal Ribat, again of Papua New Guinea, where he posed with a sign that he pledges to live Laudato Si and care for a common home. So we're gonna invite you to reach out to bishops or other celebrities that you know to help us to make this commitment to live Laudato Si and to publicly announce that they've signed the pledge. And we'll post these online, and we'll encourage the rest of the Catholic family to follow in their footsteps. We are working to get Pope Francis to make a pledge, although he did write the encyclical, so his sign is a little different. But we're hoping to make that happen. As I mentioned, another way that you can help us promote the pledge is to do it through your own website. And we can work with you to provide a unique URL or registration form so that you can also collect data. And we'll be launching the pledge on the 2nd anniversary of Laudato Si, actually the day before. We'll be having a big launch in Manila, Philippines, which of course is a very significant place to launch the pledge, given the Philippines is one of the frontline communities affected by climate. And it's been where we collected a lot of signatures for our Catholic climate petition, and where GCCM was officially launched in January 2015. So this launch will happen on June 17th with Cardinal Tagle. So we're thrilled to be able to begin this campaign in that way. So we also will be doing an online launch. So we invite you to join us in sharing about this new initiative through your networks. The next big campaign I wanted to talk about was the Season of Creation, which I have a feeling all of you are pretty familiar with. Since 1989, the Ecumenical Patriarch designated September 1st as Creation Day, and that has been adopted by other Christian churches through the years, including Pope Francis in 2015, when he named September 1st the World Day of Prayer for the Care of Creation. And given that October 4th, the Feast of St. Francis, is just about a month away, Christian communities have been celebrating this time period of September 1st to October 4th as Creation Time, or Season of Creation. And so at the suggestion of Pope Francis, we have joined with our other Christian brothers and sisters in celebrating this time. And you can see at the bottom of the screen the groups that we have been collaborating with in lifting up this important period of the Season of Creation. So the ACT Alliance, the Anglican Communion, the Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network, and the World Council of Churches. So this is a time where we bring to mind God as creator and our relationship with creation. And so this year for Season of Creation, we're going to again be encouraging people to celebrate ecumenical prayer services across the globe. This year we have something very special happening on September 23rd. The European Commissions for Justice and Peace will be meeting in Taizé, and they have agreed to host a symbolic action and prayer service in honor of Season of Creation. And so they will be inviting our ecumenical partners to join in this celebration. And so we're excited that this is going to be happening. And in parallel, we're going to be inviting people to also host prayer services wherever they are. It could be on September 23rd. It could be anytime during the Season of Creation. But different to last year, we're going to invite these prayer services to be a form of symbolic action, to incorporate some part of the local impact, some local ecological issue or social issue into the prayer service. So for instance, the picture you see here is a symbolic action that took place in Italy, I believe last year, where the background is an incinerator, and people from different countries are bringing soil from their own communities to represent their own ecological struggle and to lift that up in prayer. So we'll be developing resources like a prayer template and ideas on how local communities can come together and host these prayer services. The other thing that we're going to do again, like last year, is a September 1st, hopefully, online prayer service. We are inviting, hopefully Pope Francis, and then like the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Ecumenical Patriarch, and we'll see how that goes. But to host an ecumenical prayer service to honor the special time of creation. And so this will be a prayer service which anybody can join from around the world. And it'll be a time of unity and a time of deep communion. The other thing that we'll be doing is the season of creation is a time of prayer and community as well as action. And so we'll be organizing some kind of advocacy action that people can join during this time. So what member organizations are invited to do during this time is to invite our bishops to join the celebration. We think it's a great idea if, as individuals or institutions, we actually reach out to our bishops and let them know that in response to Pope Francis's call for the World Day of the Prayer for Care for Creation, as well as Season of Creation, that we join the Pope in this time. And so we're drafting a letter which you can use to reach out to your bishop to let them know about the Season of Creation and to join in these activities. We'll invite you to help us to encourage your network to host offline prayer services and participate in the advocacy initiatives. And we'll be launching the Season of Creation with our ecumenical partners on the World Day of the Environment, which is June 5th. So just look out for that. And that's when we'll be sharing resources and have the website up and updated. So we hope that you will participate with us in this important time. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Marissa and talk about the animators.
Hello, I'm Marissa Vertrees, and for those of you who I haven't had a chance to meet yet, I came on board a couple months ago, campaigns manager for English-speaking countries, so I'm very happy to be part of GCCM. So the Laudato Si Animators program is one that GCCM did a couple years ago as well, as a training program for individuals to give them the tools they need to spread Laudato Si in their own parishes and communities. So making sure that people are able to take on this message of live Laudato Si and spread it around the world. And our first big project for the current animators that are going through the training this summer will be the Season of Creation that Christina just spoke about, and trying to get more groups to participate in them. We'll have 3 weeks of webinars during June. June 12th will be the first one, with follow-up calls for the Season of Creation final project. The curriculum you can see there. The first training is on the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor, understanding the climate crisis. We want to make sure that people really have a good, strong understanding of the science behind what's happening currently and what the results are of climate change. Training 2, the roots of the climate crisis, what the church has to say. So looking at our church's response. And then training 3, towards ecological conversion, our own response to climate change and what we can do to change. And at the end of these trainings, as we say, we're going to have follow-up calls for the Season of Creation. We're also exploring different ways to make sure that people can stay in touch with each other after the program. It's a little bit difficult if we really get a good spread of people around the globe, but we want to try to use this to build some community among the animators as well. So I can go to the next slide. So this is a picture from the Boston Climate March, since Fran had done the animators program. Ludwig is on the phone. We know that the people who did the program before have really done some great work around the climate marches, as well as Mercy to Earth Weekend and other events. So we wanted to showcase that. This time around, we're looking for 500 new animators overall, 300 from English-speaking countries and 100 each from the Spanish and Portuguese-speaking countries that we work with. So we think this will be a really good goal. If we get more than that, that's fantastic as well. But we want to try to get a lot of people who can help spread this in their communities. I can go to the next one. So what we hope that you will help us with as member organization is to spread the word. This is really good training and community building program for your own members. We know that people that are able to go through these sorts of trainings are then really motivated to take on additional work and go forth. This is another picture of a Mercy to Earth prayer event that was put on in Pakistan by someone who had gone through the Animators program previously as well. So we hope that you'll encourage your own members to take part in this and opportunities to build your network. We're looking to give people the education, the background, and the tools they need to spread Laudato Si, but then to work with as many different organizations as they can in order to spread that message. So we'll be encouraging animators to connect locally, to connect with the member organizations that they're part of, to basically be much more engaged in taking action on climate change through whatever organization in whatever way they can. If we're really going to have 12 million Catholics engaged, we need everybody working together. So I hope that you'll spread the word also. The applications are currently open. The website you can see is there. It gives a little bit more information about the program as well as the application form. We sent this out last Thursday and we currently have 101 applications. So we'll be doing some more reminders, but there's definitely some interest in there. So I hope that you'll help us encourage it as well. And then next, the other thing that we'll be working on this year are the Laudato Si Roadshows. So this has been going on in Brazil for over a year now. They're still going. Most recently, the roadshow was at the General Assembly of Brazilian Bishops Conference at Aparecida. Apologies if I mispronounced that. But the Brazilian bishops have been very engaged in this, and it's really wonderful to see the response that we've gotten there. For the United States, we're officially starting in September. For this country, we'll be really looking at how we can use this to motivate people to take advocacy action. So we're particularly looking at swing districts, which are the ones that are represented by either representatives or senators who are not a strong yes or no on climate action. So we know that they're persuadable, but they might need a little push in order to do the right thing. So we're hoping that seeing a lot more engagement from their own community will give them that push they need. After US, the next most likely country will be Poland, which is another place that we know people need some persuasion and to really hear the message of Laudato Si. And we encourage you to think about running a roadshow in your own country as well if you're interested in that. Please do let us know. It's a really great way to help spread the message. So thank you.
Cecilia?
Thanks, Christina, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. I'm Cecilia Dall'Oglio. I got on board serving GCCM last February, and I'm very happy to stay here and to join this call with all of you. And I'm presenting the fossil fuel divestment. I am the European program coordinator and also the Divest program coordinator. And as the others told us, the question is very urgent. And the Pope, the Laudato Si told us that we know that the technology based on the use of highly polluting fossil fuel needs to be progressively replaced without delay. And our bishops all around the world, with the statement in the Paris, say us to put the end of the fossil fuel era and provide affordable, reliable, and safe renewable energy access for all. So this is what we have, and is a very, very important challenge. And as the Pope told us, we need another course. All of us, we are in the same boat. And Divest is very important, is like the rather movement for changing the course altogether. Christina, can you change? And it's important to give this announcement all together. As you can see, the last May 10th, we had the divestment announcement where 9 Catholic institutions joined, and they announced publicly to go from the fossil fuel industry, and was very important also media coverage. And can you go on? And why to do this announcement public? Why don't stay in a private level? This is very important, as the gospel told us, to speak in the light, because it's not only something about the private morality, but it's a very important prophetic sign. And so we need all together to give this sign and to tell to the world that beginning from us, from our religious institution, we want to change course. And we know that the complete process can be also of 5 years, so don't worry. The important thing is that the religious organization pass the resolution in their own reality. And it's very important the role of you as GCCM members, as in the last announcement, for example, member Sister Sheila Kinsey, she was precious also to help us in their own conference. We had also to involve the Wheaton Franciscan Sisters of Mary in USA to join this announcement. So the invite is, can you go on? And yes, sorry, this one for the 4th of October, that it is the next announcement in the occasion of the Feast of St. Francis, to be much more. And as members, we invite you to do also this step all together. For information, I am at your disposal. We can organize a webinar at the regional level. We can give all the information you need, also because we are supported by the Divestment Working Group of GCCM, and it's very important. So thank you to all of you.
Hi, I'm Fabian Campos. I'm the programs coordinator for Spanish-speaking countries. Now I'm gonna share a little bit about the World Youth Day in Panama that is going to be in 2 years. GCCM was present in the World Youth Day in Krakow, where we try to share the Laudato Si message through different activities, like through the Eco Village, through a concert, catechesis, and different other activities. And the most interesting was that we have show a video to all participants during the final mass with the Pope, sharing this Laudato Si message. But now in Panama, we would like to try to have this Laudato Si message like a transversal of the whole World Youth Day. In this way, we are trying to work with the Archdiocese of Panama that is directly enrolled to the organization of this nice event. And so now we are working with people from Panama, trying to work together with the Archdiocese, and also we are working with the Dicastery for Relative Family and Life, specifically with the the Office for Youth. So in this way, we have created like a plan. We have organized some things there in ASSISI, and for that we have 2 working groups. The one is World Youth Day GCCM working group, where we are trying to organize to see how we can share in a better way the Laudato Si message. And then we will have maybe an extended working group where we can work with member organizations, but also with another Catholic organizations and institutions that are interested in participating in the World Youth Day and in different ways. In fact, now I have had some calls with another organizations that work specifically with youth in Latin America, for example. Now we are going to have another organizations that are working in another countries. So in this way, we will be sharing more information about the World Youth Day and how you can participate in a better way, how you can also invite youth that are going to participate there to promote this Laudato Si message there. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Fabian and Marissa and Cecilia, and of course, Tomas. As you can see, we have a lot of exciting things up ahead that we hope that you'll join us in. So I'm conscious of time, so just want to mention a few organizational matters. So as Tomas mentioned at the beginning, we are going to start hosting quarterly calls for member organizations just to kind of give you an update of what's happening, how you can get involved, as well as to hear from you, your ideas and feedback. So we'll be sending out the specific dates in the email that's going to be forthcoming, but you can see that we'll be hosting these calls in the coming months. Also in the survey that you received, we mentioned working groups, that this is an opportunity for members of member organizations to participate more closely in our day-to-day work. And right now we have several working groups, Divest, Invest, working with Cecilia, Sustainable Facilities, which Tomas mentioned, the World Youth Day working group, which Fabian just mentioned, grassroots organizing, so related to the animators, working with Marissa, and then eco-spirituality, so retreats and some of our programming around Season of Creation and Advent and Lent. So we'll be sending out information shortly about how you can get involved with the working groups. And then John, if you want to mention briefly about the communications listserv.
Sure. So I'll be sending out an invitation to everyone on our list who joined us today, an invitation to join an email list that I would send out, or alias you could say, with updates from our comms department, social media posts, social media content, and just things to help you share the message that we have here at the Global Catholic Climate Movement. So yeah, I look forward to saying that. My name is John Rohr. Sorry, I didn't do that first. And my email is john@catholicclimatemovement.global.
Great. Thanks, John.
Sure.
So just to close this piece, we just wanted to show you our numerous, just the contacts of people that you may want to get in touch with. This is on our website under staff, but you can see here several of the people that were on the call, as well as their email addresses, which is always just their first name at catholicclimatemovement.global. So we really encourage you to reach out to folks if you have questions or ideas or want to engage more closely on any of the things that we discussed today. So with that, I'm going to open up the floor, and I'm going to, let's see, if you would like, you can show your video and you can show yourself. And there's several ways that you can ask questions. If you have any, you can put something in the chat box, or you can actually raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself and just ask away. And so feel free to just ask a general question, or if you want to ask a specific question to somebody. So the floor is open. Anybody?
Presentation was incredibly clear.
Any comments or thoughts?
Well, can you hear me?
Hi, Brother Ben. Yes.
Thank you for the nice presentation. Actually, we've been trying to engage and coordinate with the Cecilia here in Rome. We've invited her in our Roman 6 meetings, and we're gonna invite her again for another meeting with the Commission of Justice and Peace for the Capuchins, to encourage many more Franciscans to divest and reinvest. We wrote a letter to the Conference of Major Superiors of Franciscans, you see, to encourage them on sending a letter all around the world to encourage Franciscans to divest, which I think is a very good progress. And I can see the message getting to many more Franciscans around the world. I really congratulate Cecilia for a great work here, and I think we can continue working together with other partners. Thank you.
Great, Brother Brian. It'd be so great if a bunch of Franciscan announced their decision to divest on the Feast of St. Francis.
Right.
So, Fran, you're asking, is the Laudato Si Pledge, is it just for Catholics? Seems the follow-up info would be targeted for Catholics. So, I think we will invite anybody to sign, but given that our main audience is Catholics and we want to demonstrate how Catholics are taking action on climate, you're right, the follow-up info is going to be focused on it's going to have a pretty strong Catholic messaging, bringing in Pope Francis. But of course, anybody is welcome to sign.
What makes me think, Fran's comment makes me think that we should probably try to address that when we launch it, right? So maybe Christina and the team, we can talk about that. Thanks, Fran, for posing that question.
Yeah.
You put it.
Great. Any other burning questions?
Yeah, this is Sheila. How are you? Thank you for a very fine presentation.
Thanks, Sister Sheila.
I have a question regarding to the transition from communities that are going from fossil fuels to alternative energy. Is there a group looking at that specifically to help those communities with that kind of movement?
So you're asking, when you say community, you say Catholic institution divesting and reinvesting, or you're talking about wider communities?
No, I'm talking about the community that is already involved in fossil fuel. I mean, that's one of their industries. And so when we're moving from that, you have that group for grassroots organizing, but that's not concerned with that, is it? It's something else.
Yeah, well, we don't, I mean, here we follow a lot at GCCM kind of the work. So we're members of CAN, the Climate Action Network, and we kind of follow their lead on those fronts where we don't have the capacity nor the expertise to do it. So, and CAN is working, for example, with the ITUC, the International Trade Unions Confederation, that is doing a lot of work in terms of just transition for communities that depend on the fossil fuel industry. So I'd be glad to connect you, Sheila, and send you some resources from them, from CAN and ITUC, addressing that question. But us as GCCM, we currently don't have the capacity or the expertise to actually work deeply on that. But I think that you're posing a great question, and we should be trying to incorporate, especially in our grassroots organizing work and working group, trying to get some content, because that's a question that people struggle with in the ground, especially in those communities. we need to equip our Catholic community to know how to deal with that tough question, important question. So, but to start with, I'll send you some resources that CAN and ITUC have, and we'll make sure that in the grassroots organizing working group, we try to address that question.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I appreciate that a lot.
Thanks, Julia.
Great. So we're at time, so I think we'll go ahead and end our webinar. So we want to thank you for joining us as we shared what's coming up for the rest of 2017. I want to thank all of the team who joined us from many continents to join this webinar. And as mentioned, we'll send you this presentation as well as resources that we mentioned in a follow-up email. So thank you again. Thanks for all your support and commitment, and we'll look forward to connecting with you on the next call. So God bless everybody. Take care.
God bless. Thanks all.
God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.